Lighting for Profits.
All right.
Powered by Emery Allen. Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
Okay, all right. Let's go, guys. We got an awesome show lined up today. We're gonna be joined pretty rapidly here with our guests. In fact, we got Tom Garber leading us off. He's the owner, the CEO, the top dog at Emery Allen. They've been a supporter of ours for several years now, and very relevant in the landscape lighting industry. In fact, in the lighting industry in general, but especially the landscape lighting. So we're going to have him on, and just want to remind you guys that we still are the #1 landscape lighting show in Charleston, South Carolina. So that's pretty cool. I don't think it's easy to do. But this is like our second, third, fourth, maybe even fifth time being the #1 landscape lighting show in Charleston. So if you're looking to start or grow a landscape lighting business, you're definitely in the right place. Today, after we have Tom on, we're going to talk about some really cool things that Tom's been working on and been doing at Emery Allen. Then after that, we're going to talk about tariffs. So if you guys are wondering what the heck is going on, what to do about it, and really how to survive and maybe even thrive in this economy, that's a discussion. So we're going to have a panel discussion. We've got TJ Lucero with Redwoods Landscape Lighting, Jimmy Tompkins with Omni, and we're going to be talking about the impacts that the tariffs and all these things are having on the economy and what you can do about it. So it's going to be an excellent show. Want to remind you guys, and by the way, I started asking again for reviews. If you've not done it, please give me a review. I saw TJ gave me a review the other day on Apple. So if you have not, please give us those reviews. Write something nice if you've gotten value from the show. My goal, again, you guys, is to give as much value away as possible so that when we do make you an offer to join Landscape Lighting Secrets, Lighting Academy, come to Light It Up Expo, whatever it is, that it's not costing you anything because we helped you make enough money here on the show. And if you listen to these episodes and listen to what our guests are talking about and implement, you're going to make tens of thousands of dollars so that when we ask you and make you an offer, it's going to be an easy, no-brainer decision. So I'm not trying to take any money from anyone. Just want to help you guys for free. All right. So I guess, you know what? Is it? It's not time yet, is it? Wait, what is it? What's this? Guys, a fixture is only as good as the source of light inside it. This light source is what your customers and future customers will ultimately see at night and will result in thousands of dollars in return business for you, along with glowing referrals. Emery Allen believes every lighting professional should have access to a light source engineered from the ground up, dedicated to high performance when you need it most. At the end of the day, it's what's on the inside that counts. So make sure you take advantage of Emery Allen's world-class customer service. Get 10% off your first order. And actually, all you have to do is email our guest today, Tom Garber, his email, tomg@emeryallen.com. Just email tomg@emeryallen.com. He will connect you with that discounted contractor price. Just mention that you heard about him here on Lighting for Profits. And he's going to be on the show today. So maybe you could just send him a DM and say, hey, hook me up. I want to get that Emery Allen product. A lot of people are using it. More and more are. So, all right, guys. Well, you know what? With that said, it's time to get our honorary guest on. So let's get the music going. Let's get Mr. Tom on the show. Welcome to the show, Mr. Tom Garber.
Hey, Ryan, how you doing today?
Hey, thanks for jumping on the show, man. It's always good to see you.
Absolutely. Good to see you, too.
How the heck have you been? I know you've been a busy man.
I haven't been at home a lot this year. It started off beginning of January with the Dallas residential lighting market, and it seems like I just got home last week. So just been show after show. Visited with you. Where were we? Orlando. But Orlando, New York City, Naples, Florida. I mean, we've been all over the place. So it's nice to be at home for a change.
Well, I'm sure it is. You are a hardworking man, and I want to thank you for all your contributions you've done for the lighting industry. I haven't been at some of those other events you mentioned, but you're always looking to improve your business and see what's working, what's not working. Just me personally, thank you for being such a supporter of Lighting for Profits. You were also the platinum sponsor of Light It Up Expo, which was a huge I guess, risk. It was the first time we've ever done that, so to step in and be like, yep, we want to be the platinum. That was pretty cool. Really appreciate your support with everything you've done for us and the whole lighting industry. It means a lot.
Absolutely. It's been my passion for many, many years, and I enjoy doing it. I enjoy helping people and solving problems and all of that. So uh, I'm all in. My family's all in, and my whole company's in. So it's a lot of fun.
I love it. I love the family aspect. In a few minutes, we're going to have Jimmy and TJ join us, and we're going to talk about um, how everyone thinks they're a global economist and a tariffs expert if you go onto social media. But, your background is in engineering. And where did that come from? How did you get super excited about engineering and lighting and having that technical aspect?
I don't know. Probably goes back to the way my dad was. He was a mechanic, coming out of World War II and everything. He was a mechanic on boats and for the automotive industry and a lot of automobiles that don't even exist anymore.
Mm.
But I think I got all of that from him, and hence the Emery part of Emery Allen was it was specifically my dad. It's also my son's middle name and my grandson's name as well. So we've got a legacy of Emery's, and I'm the only oddball. My middle name is Allen, so that's how the whole Emery Allen got put together.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah, I don't know if everyone knows that. I'm pretty sure you've told me that before, but I have a really bad memory, so I'm glad to remember that.
Yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of
Well,
fun.
that's cool. How do you think that your engineering background has helped you build this business?
The biggest thing that I see the passion in me more than anything else is the problem solving. You know, um, my wife, my son, my other daughter, they run other parts of this business. It's like I don't want to have anything to do with finance or this or that or anything else, and employees and problems that you might have with that. All I want to do is what I enjoy doing, and that's problem solving, new product development, and all of that. So, that's that ability to be able to solve problems is probably where how Emery Allen got started.
Yeah. Well, it's a good example because, I'm always trying to help people grow their business and get out of the things that they're either not good at or don't want to do. And when you get intentional like that, I mean, I'm sure if you had to, you could do all those things, but you've found the right people, you've delegated, and you're doing what you want to do in the business, the things that you're good at. That's where most entrepreneurs suffer is it's just easier to do it myself than train someone who might not be around in 6 months. So yeah, well done on that.
Yeah, there's
Is
nothing worse than doing something that you don't enjoy doing. So why not just give it to someone else to take care of?
yeah, big time. And then it's hard too because when you really want to scale your business and you have to even hire people to do things that you do enjoy doing. Like there's sometimes we enjoy doing it, but it's like we can't scale. We can't really provide the most value to our clients if we don't delegate it to someone else because we can't give 100% in that role.
Right, right. No, you're absolutely right with that.
Well,
So,
news to me, I just found out that it's Emery Allen's 10-year anniversary. Is that happening this year?
yep, I when I was talking with Darcy week or two ago, trying to put this whole thing together, I said that this year is our 10-year anniversary. It's hard to believe that it's been 10 years, doing this. We started our product line 10 years ago was somewhere between 30 and 40 lamps. And we went at it specifically then to solve some of the issues with California's JA8, Title 20, Title 24 issues, which a lot of people probably don't know about, but it's a performance based certification that you have to have, that your lamps have to do, perform with low or good power factor and lumens, and they get heat tested and all of that. So we started our company just based on solving that problem, and then today I think we're probably somewhere north of 525 or 550 SKUs.
Dang.
So,
Is that a good
so
thing or a bad thing?
I mean, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
It's a
that's
good.
awesome.
I'm fortunate that our products are only like this big, and they're not like huge lighting fixtures or something like that, because that'd be a real problem.
Well, congrats on your success so far, and I know you guys are just getting started. You always are you're always thinking ahead and what ways you can innovate and be better and provide better service and stuff like that. So let's talk about real quick just some of the challenges you've I guess faced over the last 10 years. What comes to mind?
Uh, the first thing that comes to mind, the biggest, one of the biggest issues is just some of the regulations that goes on. Whether it's in California, it's federal regulations, or dealing with the Florida wildlife folks down there. You want to do a good job. You want to be able to pull all the information together so you can solve certain issues. But trying to get that information sometimes isn't the easiest. So, and that's fresh in my mind because we're kind of dealing with some of that right now, and it's a little bit frustrating. So, the regulations are a little bit challenging. I've always dealt with UL and Intertech, ETL, for my whole life. So that's fairly easy. It's just all these other regulations that you have to abide to.
Yeah, I hear you. And I'm sure that's was somewhat of a surprise. I mean, I'm sure you thought, oh, there's going to be regulations or whatever, but there's just things that you don't even know about until you start getting down that path.
Absolutely.
What about what's different? What's different today than it was 10 years ago? What changes have happened?
I think that there are more and more people that are accepting LED lamps than there have been 10 years ago. I mean, incandescents were around 10 years ago, and LEDs, kind of like compact fluorescents when they first came on, got a bad rap because the color wasn't right. People were too green or too white or something like that. So there's been an awful lot of awful lot of change in technology to perfecting the color of the lamps. Recently, probably within the last couple of months, we were just awarded a project that we had to jump through some hoops for, because they wanted an R9, which is the red color in CRI. They wanted an R9 of, somewhere around 70 or 80, a very high CRI, and dimmability and all of that. So they wanted something as close to incandescent as possible. And we were able to pull it off. And I think it was within the last couple of weeks, we were just featured, or our products were just featured in a lot of the local newspapers. It was Carnegie Hall in New York City.
Wow.
And there was just thousands and thousands of bulbs throughout the theater. And, they knew what they wanted, the lighting designers and all of that. So that technology has certainly changed a lot. And one of the nice things about being diversified in so many different areas of distribution is you learn so much that you can take one thing and apply it to another. It's the whole thing with the MR16s and the high power factor and all that. Well, we learned that by accident doing something else.
Hmm.
So that's those types of things are always changing.
I don't know if I didn't hear it, but Greg Matthews said he's proud of you for using the word lamp. Did Thomas Edison invent the light lamp? I think he did.
No, I must have done that by mistake. I should have said bulb.
You normally do, so you're good.
I
Uh,
know.
what else has changed? Like for Emery Allen, like, are you guys still supplying halogen lamps, incandescents?
No, we never did.
Okay.
Everything was always everything that we did was one form of LED or another.
You guys recently came out with a couple of fixtures. Is there going to be more of that? Or are you guys going to continue being a lamp manufacturer, or are you considering getting into the fixture game?
I mean, a bulb manufacturer. Um, you know, Again, it goes back to my earlier comments about problem solving. And, I saw on a lot of different forums and everything that people were having difficulty lighting up second stories of houses, dormers, or this, that, and everything else. And that's when we came out with our little Ranger lamp. But it just happened because nobody else was doing a good enough job with coming out with a fixture that solved that problem. So that's why we came out with that. And then we also came out with the Scout. Both of these are IP68 rated. And so it was another problem that existed that we wanted to solve. So are we going to come out with more fixtures or anything like that? If we do, it's going to be niche little fixtures like this that solves small little issues that currently exist.
Okay. Well, I guess maybe along those lines, you said you just got back from which shows were you at?
Um, the latest one was Leducation,
Okay.
and that's in New York City every year. It's at the Hilton, downtown Manhattan. This year, there were over 475 exhibitors and over 10,000 attendees. And this is everything from residential fixtures to um, a lot of commercial fixtures. There's a lot of component manufacturers there talking about their LEDs or reflectors or whatnot. And so it was just a lot of fun going through there and see kind of what's coming down the pipe.
And what was your reaction? Were you blown away? Did you see all this new stuff where you were shocked, or are you thinking like, you know what, it's just kind of the same old stuff?
It's a little bit of, 50-50. We went there and we met some of our customers who were exhibiting, our OEM customers, and that was nice to do that face to face and see some of the cool things that they're coming out with. And then there were some things that it seems like, somebody went over to the Hong Kong lighting show and just copied this thing. And then there was probably 6 or 7 other people with the same type of product. So kind of a mixed bag, but I was looking more for what's new, what's innovative, and all of that. And this is probably the show to do that at.
So it's hard. I mean, how does someone innovate? How does a new manufacturer come in and innovate, or is it just easier to imitate? Is it just easier to come up with, like you said, go over to the same factory and say, all right, put my name on it?
Uh, I hate imitation. I hate, when I see something that's a knockoff of somebody else's, it's like, really? This is the best you can do. Um, so no, I think you just need people with, um, you know, some type of intellect, a good thinking cap and whatever. It's like, how do you make something better? And, um, that's what I enjoy. There's nothing that we do that copies anything. Right down to our MR16 that people said it looks like a spaceship. So um, it's a lot more fun to innovate new types of products.
Nice. Okay. Well, before we bring on TJ and Jimmy and get into the nuts and bolts of tariffs and global economy and everything else, anything that you want to share with the world about Emery Allen or final comments?
I just appreciate everybody's support, and we couldn't have grown, without folks like yourself, this podcast, all of our OEMs that we deal with, and all of our customers. Just like to thank everybody for all of their support, and I'm sure we're just going to continue on.
Yeah, I love it. Well, thank you. And congrats again on the 10-year anniversary. I feel like we got to throw a giant party or something because it's pretty cool and it's fun because the more shows I go to or put on or whatever, more and more people are using Emery Allen, of course. And everyone has good things to say about the product and you, your family, the company, the team members that they meet and all that stuff. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's great.
All right. So should we do this? Should we get into this?
You ready?
I think we're ready. Let's get our so Tom Garber is our first panelist that we're going to be talking to. And by the way, thank you, Tom, because this was supposed to be a whole Tom Garber episode. So we'll have you come back on. We can dedicate some more time to it. But there was like kind of this tariff thing going on. It's like, you know what? We should do like an emergency podcast. And I was like, dude, Tom's scheduled. Let's just do it. So thank you for being willing to let us sabotage your own episode.
Sure.
Well, let's welcome our next guest. Who's it going to be? Let's see. All right, please welcome Mr. TJ Lucero with Redwoods Landscape Lighting. What's up, TJ?
Some fighting music. I love it.
Thanks for joining us, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Tom, thanks for letting us hijack your episode.
Absolutely. Anytime for the good of the lighting industry.
Love it.
Love it. Yeah.
All right. Now let's get our next guest coming on here. Let's find his music. Where's it at? Oh, here we go. Here we go. Mr. Jimmy Tompkins.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, Jimmy?
What's going on, guys?
Hey, thanks for jumping on here, man.
Absolutely. Thank you. I learned something new about the Emery Allen name. So that's a really cool name, by the way. That's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Keep it in the family. Love that.
That's right.
It is
very cool stuff.
Well, a lot has been going on. I posted a couple things on my profile. Jimmy, I've seen you posting stuff. I think people are generally and genuinely worried. And they're hearing about these tariffs and 57% and 127% or whatever. TJ is going to share this big number with us in a minute. They're hearing this and it's like, holy cow, how am I going to, I'm having a hard enough time charging the prices I am now. And I already quoted these people and all this stuff. So I'm excited to get into it with you guys. And I'm confident that we're going to, I don't know that we're going to have a resolution at the end of this, but I think we're going to give some good advice to people so that they can know, not just to overreact and maybe not even underreact, but just find out, okay, here's what I can do. So thanks everybody for jumping on here. Let's see. Brian Grote's on. Tom is the best. And Grant Fields, let's go, Tom. We are doing a, well, Greg, I think we let the cat out of the bag when he was on. He's doing a 10-year anniversary party and we're doing a combined secret summit. So maybe we'll do the Emery Allen lighting, luxury illumination and secret summit all together. 10-year anniversary.
Where's that going to be?
In West Palm Beach at Greg's.
Oh, that sounds great.
Details releasing soon. Let's just say that. But so tariff talk. I guess, Jimmy, let me ask you kind of the first question, and then this is just more of a discussion. This isn't like super formal, like not moderating anything. Jimmy, can you tell us what is going on? Like, I think they're calling it a reciprocal tariff. What does that mean? What does that mean directly to the lighting industry?
Well, I mean, I think the long and short of it is obviously it's a political thing, and we'll try to stay away from the politics of it. But I think really what we're seeing is the reciprocal tariffs are in place to mitigate or reduce the trade deficit, which at the end of the day can value or devalue the American dollar. So I think what our government strategy is at this point is, try to leverage us being the best country in the world and the largest consumer of every product in the world, to level that playing surface. And a way of creating fear and getting their attention is to basically kind of start shrinking down that that pipeline of inbound products. And by doing that, they levy tariffs, which has been done over the years, and you see sometimes more success than others. So it's definitely a tactic to use to try to build value of our dollar and get our economy strengthened. So I think there's obviously lots of good intention behind the tariffs, and I do think, me personally, I do think it's a long-term play. It's not all about the short term, and hopefully our government and the opposing countries at this point will be able to come to terms, and we can get this thing behind us. But at this point, I think we saw today we're going 104% in China, effective tomorrow. So there's definitely some China is we need China and China needs us. So we got to come together and figure out a way to make this thing work. But how does it affect our industry? Well, it affects our industry because not much in the lighting industry is made outside of Asia. We've seen some people that have moved to Cambodia and Thailand and Philippines and others, but at the end of the day, we've got a lot of our livelihood requires and lives off the Chinese production. And I think we've seen it very difficult to manufacture lighting products and bulbs, lamps, components in the States and to remain competitive from a price standpoint. So bottom line, it's going to directly attribute us to deal with some increased cost and right out of the gate. But hopefully those are going to be short term, and we'll get back to being able to be lighting professionals and not trying to figure out tariffs.
Well, exactly. And so you mentioned long term, short term. I mean, this stuff's changing almost by the hour. So what we say 104% tomorrow, that could last hours, days, weeks, years. We don't know, right? And I don't expect you guys to be like speaking on behalf of the government by any means, but how much of that do you think is like for us to say, okay, we're going to put these tariffs in place so that these other countries will come to the table and reduce their tariffs? Like we see that happening. Is that the play, or is the play to actually bring back manufacturing to the U.S.?
That's a great question. You hear both going on, right? Or is it also to reduce the deficit? If it's to get other countries to reduce their rates, then that keeps manufacturing over there, and manufacturing doesn't move back. If you keep it up, then it potentially moves manufacturing back here. I don't honestly know exactly what it is. Given my situation, I really don't care, but it's just something we have to navigate through, regardless of the politics. But in terms of landscape lights, we're at 133.7% now. Just to break that down so everyone's aware of how that breaks down for brass landscape lighting from China specifically. So we started off prior to 2018 with a 4.7% duty that was there for quite a while prior. Then in 2018, President Trump enacted the Section 301 tariffs, which added an additional 25%. And President Biden kept those on. They didn't go away. So we've been at basically a 29.7% tariff rate on brass landscape lighting from China since 2018. Then in March, President Trump enacted an additional 10% plus another 10%, 20% in total IEEPA tariffs. Then I believe it was Friday, was it Friday, Jimmy, where he announced the reciprocal tariffs, 34%, last week sometime.
Yeah.
Yep. And then just an hour or two ago, apparently he announced the retaliation tariffs because China is refusing to take their 34% off that they put on after we put ours on. So you add all those up, and for brass landscape lighting right now, we're at 133.7%.
So how did you get to 133 when the news and what Jimmy just said is saying it's 104%?
Yep, because for brass landscape lighting, it's under the Section 301 tariffs, which adds an additional 25%. I'm not sure if Jimmy's products fall under that or not. And then brass lighting also has the prior 4.7% duty. So there's an additional 29.7% on top of the 104.
Yeah, and we're also seeing that on that's also power supplies, controllers are also underneath that same 301. So 301 is the crutch that nobody really even knows about, acknowledges, because we've dealt with it for the last 10 years. So that's just an understood that is just, it is what it is. And that's what's really funny about these people that are trying to go direct to China. And they're saying, oh, you get it for this price. And then they've been getting tacked with basically a 30% if they're bringing in more than $800, which that's all going to get shut down as well. So yeah, there's in the Christmas industry, and there's several items that fall under that as well, actually.
So what are you guys going to do? I was messaging back and forth today with Michael Kaplan, and he was, kind of messaging about this stuff. Like, man, if it's 105%, then, a $5 million order is now $10 million. And do you order less? Like, do you stay in budget, or do you guys just have extra money floating around where you can buy whatever you want? And then how does that affect your throughput?
I'm going to ask Ryan Lee for a loan. No,
So
I think honestly, of course, our industry is you bring on inventory, and we call it good inventory, good debt. And you bring that on with the expectation to be able to sell it. Well, now that debt's really bad debt. So what you bring in, you must push through and you must sell out. Or you could be caught with trying to sell something next year that's going to be completely inflated. You're never going to get out from under it. So I think, unfortunately, you're going to have to make adjustments. You can't just go cold turkey. And you got to look at the end user cost, how that's really going to be affected. You take a landscape light, for instance, and yeah, you're at 100 and whatever, 30%, but that still only attributes to probably about 15% of that contractor's job. So by the time that number gets dwindled down, your net cost to the end user is still probably somewhere 10 to 12%. You're selling a luxury item. You're not selling a necessity. People buying lighting are going to pay a premium because it's a premium product. They don't have to have it. So it really becomes a psychological part of the selling yourself that, hey, I can go out there and sell this. I just got to be realistic with what my costs are. And I don't have to go and just adjust my price 140%. I just got to adjust my cost by whatever that is. And everything else is the same factor. So there's just going to be ways that guys are going to be creative. And I think opportunities like this are where companies really push through and come out successful. And then you got the other guys that are going to sit on their hands and be scared to death to go out there and do anything. And they're going to be ones that are going to disappear. So some people might say that's a good attrition. I don't know.
Well, I'm actually glad you brought the pricing thing up, because you hear, oh, wow, 104%, my products are going to double. People do freak out. It's not, it actually hurts the manufacturers and distributors a lot more than it does the contractor or the homeowner, because if you're pricing right, your materials should be about 20% of your cost of goods sold, and so if you're increasing that 20% by a certain percentage, whatever you guys, and we'll talk about absorption and stuff like that, but we're potentially talking about a small increase for the homeowner, if the contractor's just trying to maintain their profitability. If they want to make some money on it, they can, because they can blame it on you guys, which I would probably recommend to make you guys
bring it on.
But yeah, it's not they're not doubling their price just because you guys have to increase your price, and I don't know. I'm interested to ask you guys how much your prices are going up, because this 104% increase, do you pass that along? Do you guys negotiate with your suppliers? Do you work out deals? Do you work out bulk stuff that you weren't doing before? And how does all that work?
Yeah, I can speak to what we're doing. I ran the numbers prior to the recent 50%. So this was before that. I have an idea of what it'll be. So I went through product by product. Jimmy has been on top of this. I saw his Facebook Lives last week. And we're going to do kind of what Jimmy's doing, or at least what he mentioned on there, which is short term. Hopefully these are short term on any new containers coming over on those products. We are going to take a hit on the gross margin percent. We're going to try to keep the same margin dollars, even come down a little bit, but we'll take a hit on our margin percent, assuming that this isn't going to last long term. So any increase we have will only be to pay for the additional tariffs. And when I looked through product by product, when I ran the analysis, it was going to be, depending on the product, anywhere between 3 and 9% increase. Now with the additional 50%, I think it's probably going to add about 4 or 5 points to that is what we're looking at. I'm still looking at it. Another thing we're going to
So
do.
even
I'm sorry. Go
even
ahead.
if you have a total of 100%, you're saying your prices would potentially go up 15%.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you could just re-clarify what you're talking about, percentages versus dollars, because a lot of people do get hung up on like, well, I got to make 20% or 40% or whatever. When at the end of the day, I think Dan Plata used to say this is like, you don't deposit percentages into banks, you deposit dollars. Talk about how you're able to do that, just worrying about your dollar versus your percentage.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw some random numbers out here. These aren't our numbers, but let's say your goal is to make 30% gross margin on all your products or on average, right? So if you have to do a price increase, you want to maintain that percent, right? So if you go up by $10, that's another $3 that you want, and you maintain that gross margin percent. Now, let's say with that, you're making dollar wise making $6 net, or I'm sorry, gross margin dollars. We're going to try to keep that same number or come down slightly, which is going to change our percent, which is fine because we think it's short term. So we're going to try to keep the same dollars, gross dollars, but we're going to have more money coming in, more revenue, just to pay for the tariff.
Got it. Yeah. So on paper, your percentages, this is not a good time to sell the business. It's not going to look like you're making that percentage, but you are going to still maintain the same dollars as close as you can.
Correct.
I think one of the things also
go ahead, Tom.
People really have to look at is how this affects a company's cash flow. Because at one point, you're throwing out $100,000 for an order, and whatever percentage on the tariff was plus your shipping cost, and now you're looking at doubling it. So you just have to really be careful with your cash about this time as well.
Yeah, to add a little bit to what TJ was saying, that's exactly what I've been kind of talking people through is, and I didn't know Dan Plata said that. I knew he was a genius, but I didn't know he was that smart of a guy.
He probably stole it from me.
That's it. You don't put a percent in the bank. You put $1. People get hell bent on percentage and margins and margins, and that is an accounting tool. It's not a performance. It's not a KPI, in my opinion. So I think that's it. And I think there's other things that we can do. What we did is we immediately stopped fulfilling any orders or selling. Everything was cold turkey. And we really wanted to see what was going to happen. So we would not sell anything. And then what we are doing is we took our blended margin. So we took our inventory and said, hey, we got $1 million of this sitting on the shelves. Nice. And we got $2 million coming in. And instead of inflating that $2 million coming in at full, we're going to blend that margin over across that $3 million. So that reduces our potential hit by 33%. If those numbers were, actual factual numbers. So, I think by doing that, you got to get creative. So right now, inventory is king. Those that are sitting on inventory their inventory instantly gained 20, 30, 40 points in value, which is not normal. So that's absolutely something we did. And then the other thing to think of, which really doesn't help Tom or TJ at all, but it helps us, is large cube items. Shipping rates right now are absolutely nothing. You can get ocean freight for $3,000 all the way to North Virginia. And 2 years ago, we were paying 23, 24, 28 grand a container. Wow. So for Tom, who's probably air freighting just about 99% of the stuff over, if not 100, that doesn't really help him. TJ, it helps him, but he's got to spend $1.5 million to take advantage. Where us, we can fill a whole container up with, $100,000 of product. So we're actually going to be able to counterbalance that on our larger scale items for Christmas, like our trees and wreaths and things of that nature. So just got to think outside the box a little bit and not just feel sorry for yourself, because I have been feeling sorry for myself quite a bit here. And some days you wake up, feel better than others.
And these price increases, they're not like, hey, this is going to happen in 30 days. Like they already happened, right?
12/01 tonight, they become effective.
Yeah, ours. So we're doing on Omni.
Oh, sorry.
No, so on Omni we did 22%, effective immediately, and then all holiday orders that are not filled are at 25%. However, if tariffs come down, that money is not added to the price; it's just a line item, and if they go away, that number completely goes away. So we'll be able to adjust it as necessary, and we're going to do the same even with our Omni. If things go away, we'll just take that line item, and it becomes a credit for the client.
Yeah, just because of the volatility, anyone who's doing a proposal for anything, it's like, if you commit today, I can honor this price. If you want to think about it, that's fine. It's America. You can think about it as long as you want. I can't guarantee the price is going to be the same, because literally tomorrow there's probably going to be a price increase. I think I posted the other day about like the 5 things I would do right now to fight back against the tariffs, and that was one of them. It's just like, use it as a sense of urgency, because people were like, well, that's too late. Like, it's already gone up. I'm like, well, just by the news today, you don't know if it's going to go up again tomorrow. We don't know what we don't know.
Gotta get them to buy today.
Yeah, what we're doing, sorry, I thought you were asking when the tariffs become effective, which is midnight tonight. So what we're doing, we're taking a little different approach. We're, as Jimmy said, people that have a good amount of inventory and good situation right now. Luckily, we're in that situation. We're ready for the busy season. So what I've committed to my clients is that we won't have any price increase until June 1st at the earliest. We've got enough inventory of current inventory to get through that time frame, and then hoping, hope's not a strategy, but hoping that some kind of agreement is reached, or at least they come down before we get our next container, which isn't for another couple months anyway. So we're in a little better situation, I think, than some others, and we've got some time, and we'll wait and see what happens over the next month.
Tom,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Tom, you announced that you were gonna absorb the first tariff and the first price increase. What are you guys planning on doing moving forward?
We're doing a lot of calculations right now. Ourselves, like TJ, we really ramp up for the whole Chinese New Year thing, and we bring in excessive amounts of product. So we're sitting pretty good on inventory for the next couple of months. Come May 15, June 15, something like that, some things are going to have to change. Then we're crunching numbers as we speak right now. What makes it a little bit difficult is we do a lot of special orders, and when we do a special order for somebody, then that is brunting that full 104%. Makes it a little bit more difficult to roll that into the rest of your inventory or anything like that.
Do you have something, TJ, or was that Jimmy?
Yeah. Some other things we're doing, and others might take some of these, take them or leave them. One of the things, because my employees had questions about it, they hear about it, but they don't follow it too closely. So we had a meeting today, all hands meeting, where I communicated exactly what the facts are. Here's what's going on. And I said, what we're going to do is, we were going to hire someone later this year. What we're going to do is, because things are in flux, we're going to become more efficient. Some of us might have to take a little more on, and my goal is to not have to, if things get bad, hopefully they don't, to be able to keep my current staff. So we're going to get lean. We're going to look for efficiencies. We're going to also, in the warehouse and the office, but mostly in the warehouse, we're going to look for any opportunities to reduce waste. So we're going to implement some of the lean principles, if people are familiar with any of that. Look at our processes, our layouts, try to get more efficient so we can do more with less. The other thing we're going to do is, if these tariffs do hold, any additional inventory we do have to bring in, we're going to bring in only what we need. So we're going to run a little more lean on it, in hopes that if they do go away and we do have to bring some with higher tariff rates, that we don't have to hold on to that inventory very long. Or we can, like Jimmy's saying, blend it out and say, okay, we will reduce it, but we know that we've got other inventory coming that's gonna bring it or average it down. The other thing we're not going to do is we're not going to stop R&D. We're working on a bunch of new projects. When these things happen, the companies that continue to invest through it, that can afford to do it and invest, they come out the other side even stronger, because a lot of other companies will stop R&D. They'll maybe not make it through, and if anything, we might even increase it. So some of the things that we're doing.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I wasn't necessarily thinking about manufacturers or distributors, anything like that, but when I did my post the other day, it was about, the designer, the contractor, and I'm like, yeah, one of the things is innovate or die. Like you can simplify your process. You don't have to cut corners. Okay, you don't have to like start not using wire connectors on your projects and just using electrical tape or whatever. There are ways though.
Don't do that.
Events like this really promote people to innovate, and creativity can come out. So you can bundle your things differently. There's ways to increase the value so you can actually give people a better deal. And this is what these events force people to do. So it's cool to see that you guys are doing it. And I'm hoping that the landscape lighting, the contractor, the designers listening to this, figuring out, okay, how could what processes could I simplify in my business to help absorb some of this, where, okay, I don't have to raise my price, but maybe I could cut back on my offer and move some things around to make it actually more valuable to the end user.
Yeah, something I hear about, is look for waste. Like, are your guys wasting a lot of 12 gauge wire, from not cutting it properly? All those things add up. Look for any of that type of thing for the installers, the techs.
Love it. We did have one question from Donovan. What's up, Donovan? Do tariffs apply to supplier already on the water? To supply, yeah.
10%. If it's on the water before, well, basically right now, if it's on a vessel, it doesn't even have to be on the water. It's 10% plus the pre-existing 3001 and any duty.
So what about, I swear I saw a letter that was Michael Kaplan sent me, and I don't know all the details if it was on the water, whatever, but they're like, yeah, your price went up 20% today or 25% today.
Yeah, so if you look at the executive order, the way it's written, it has to be on a vessel by the end of business here today. And then there's a set of requirements that you have to have. So we actually we were trying to get this, but China was on a holiday from Friday basically into Saturday. So that was great timing. But I think, so the other thing that is in there is if it's on the water and it comes in and it's enacted, say we pay the tariff today and they tomorrow abolish it, you don't get your money back. It's zero credit. So at this point, it's a gamble, and where that's going to become really tricky, where I mentioned before, you can get a container for $3,000 now. The day these tariffs are pulled, you're not getting on a vessel. The outbound, the demand of those vessels is going to be so high because everybody's stockpiling right now. And you're not going to find containers. You're not going to find vessels, and your ocean freight's probably going to be in the tune of $30,000 to $40,000 is my prediction, because you're going to see a lot of, and then the people that are going to Cambodia, forget it. Getting ships out of Cambodia already is outrageous. It's going to get worse. So they're going to go where the cheap money is. So I think, it is a domino effect. So the people that are sitting on their hands and wait, they're gonna get, they could be in for a rude awakening for sure.
Does this?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. This is COVID 2.0 when it gets to the containers, and you talk about an industry that just takes advantage of the situation. Holy cow! Yeah, you're right. I've seen containers go up to $35,000. So it's going to be pretty crazy.
Well, in customs, a little slow. Did AI to all their customs screenings, and they don't even know what they've got there yet. So that's going to be a whole nother little thing that they're going to be screening more container. Their plan is to increase screening by, I think, 35% in 2015 before all of this. and they're using AI to screen. So basically, what they're able to do is take all the value of the shipment, cross-reference into all other imports, and if the value is slightly off, they're going to start going into that, and that's going to really slow down that process. So I think there's a lot of other hurdles that we're going to have to overcome before it's not just tariffs done and we're back to day one. No, I don't think you're going to see some prices come down, because I think we're going to be chasing it once they are lifted, unless they're lifted, of course, within the next several days, which I just don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. And us being a heavy fourth quarter based business with the holiday side, I mean, we're getting screwed. We're getting it really bad. Like, TJ and Tom, they loaded up heavy. They're on the spring load. That's amazing. They win. All those Christmas guys, Donovan obviously just on here, us, and Kaplan, who you referenced. We're the ones we're sweating a bit.
Oh yeah, big time. And it's like go time. I mean, that stuff can only be stockpiled so long until it's got to hit the ship to get here in time.
And it's already, as is, a very competitive industry, the Christmas industry, and I mentioned attrition before. Maybe some attrition is good for us. A lot of people out there trying to sell product, and really have created a really low margin game for us. So, then sometimes everything happens for a reason, and it can work out for contractors, distributors, manufacturers, all the way through.
So you all import from China. Does an event like this, does this make you want to bring back manufacturing to the U.S.? Does this make you want to do a plant here?
For me, yes.
Yes, Jimmy.
If you look at the different industries that supports around just lighting in general, I mean, there is not one LED chip manufacturer left in the States. They're all buying from either Japan or South Korea or China. Taiwan might be in there as well. I mean, you buy capacitors, resistors, PC boards, and all of that, integrated circuits. They're all coming from overseas also. So you're going to pick all these components up, bring them here, stateside, put them together, assemble them. Where are you going to be? You're probably going to be more than 100% tariffs.
If you can even get people.
Yeah, and I think there's different things that can be brought here. At the end of the day, like I agree. I mean, Cree's office, where they started, is literally from where I'm sitting right now, about 3 miles down the road.
Sure,
they're gone.
Yeah.
They couldn't keep up, right? So they're in China now, I believe, the company that bought them up. So, those types of products, I don't think you were going to see here. I mean, for that to happen, the cost of those items are going to have to go so astronomically high. We're going to be on to the next technology at that point. I just don't think that's going to happen.
That's what my question is with the advancement in technology. It used to be it was China because of labor, but now we got AI, robotics, all this technology. Will it matter where it's at? So if you did bring it back to the U.S. and we have all this advancement in technology, could the argument be made that it would be better here?
I mean, that it's all about capital costs at that point. That equipment isn't inexpensive.
We'll probably have to get the equipment from China.
You do, 100%.
You walk through some of the fab labs and all of that are making the LED components, and a lot of the machines aren't made there. They're made in a lot of other places. They're coming from Japan or something like that. But I guarantee you, they're not cheap.
Yeah. Well, it's just something I was thinking through. I'm like, well, I mean, the world's different now than it was 30 years ago, and it's not just labor. I mean, we have AI and technology that's advancing so quickly. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. TJ, what about you? So Jimmy, you're thinking, man, maybe I should do something U.S. side. Tom, you're saying,
I mean, if there's a will, there's a way, but there's also, I mean, there's also some, duh moments where it's like just impossible. But I would love to be able to figure out things that we could do here stateside. And I think there are some things, I've actually got a call tomorrow night. So we'll see, got to try. And if you can, if you can't, then at least you can say you tried.
Yeah, so I'm conflicted on this. So yeah, I would love to make all my products here, have more jobs. What for me, what it comes down to, a couple things. One, does it make sense for some of these industries to be here? We moved from a very physical goods centric economy to a service economy, which adds a lot more value. Does Should we have a bunch of brass factories here? Well, can you even get people to work in them? You know, Asia is just, and China in particular, for you guys that have been there, is set up so efficiently for these industries. Um, I like the value add of, I think like Tom, doing the engineering, doing the design, doing the more value add work, and then getting the product made to your specifications, and what they specialize in, and then focusing back on the marketing and sales. Honestly, if I had to choose, I probably would get out of this industry before bringing it back. I've worked in factories, I've worked in manufacturing. I enjoy what I'm doing now. I enjoy providing the high value jobs that we have. I don't want to get back in actual manufacturing, honestly. I would get out and do something different.
Good to know.
May have to, we'll see.
Is there anything else you guys can do? TJ, you hit on it a little bit. You're trying to go lean, simplify some processes, and figure out where you guys can shave some pennies and stuff like that. Is there such thing as you guys going and negotiating with your factories and saying, hey, if we stepped up to this volume or commit to this for the last quarter, which we don't normally do big, or anything like that? Are you guys doing those types of things?
We have, for sure, and but you got to remember China's on very very tight margins. It's a volume play. So if you get 5 points out of a factory, like that's a massive score. I don't think you'd ever be able to get any more, much maybe six to seven at absolute dire scenario. Um, and but they're also dealing with volatile pricing of raw material too. So they're playing their own games over there. Copper's been all over the place. I mean, huge jump, then it plummeted, then back up again. So I don't track. I mean, brass isn't really traded as brass, and that's a big factor in the quality of some of these brass fixtures. But I don't really know what that seems to be relatively constant. TJ, right?
Yeah, the biggest component, factor of brass is copper, which, I think was, last I looked, 73,000 RMB per ton. So yeah, it was down. Now it's back up a bit, but it's all over the place to your point. Yep.
Yeah. So they're nervous too because they're it's contractual orders. All these, nobody owns factories. We contract factories. So, um, you're doing business with another business person, and you only have but so much control. But I mean, they want the business, and they're desperate for the business. They understand the ramifications of this, and there's orders getting canceled left and right. But at the same time, they've got to make money. Um, and I'll be honest, in my conversations with them, they're kind of on our side. At least that's what they tell us. They want this to be over, and basically are asking, what's it going to take? And it's definitely been interesting. So you can beat them up, but just not too much. They just don't have much in there.
And especially if you look at the prices that we're developing product for, whether it's a brass landscape light, whether it's holiday lights, or it's a light bulb, you're not talking hundreds and hundreds of dollars like you are a regular light fixture or something like that. So the margins are so very, very tight.
Can a contractor come to you and say, hey, I normally buy per project or per week or something like that, but I want to invest some more to shave a few points? Is that a possibility with y'all?
100%. Bulk buy in bulk and save.
Yeah, we don't do that. We do, since we limit who we sell to in the first place. If we get you as a pro install partner, we're a fit for each other. You get our best pricing from the very beginning, regardless of volume. That's one thing we do.
Yeah, our mindset on it is you're breaking cases and you're open cases, that becomes potentially lost inventory. That becomes more to manage, more to rebox, more packaging costs. If I can take a box off a shelf, slap a sticker on it, and hand it to the brown tuck out back, we just save some points because that's less labor. That's how we look at it. But it has to be case quantities, and it has to be typically more than a pretty sizable. But absolutely, we do that. I mean, all of our stuff is tiered that way, but we're pretty transparent with that too. So our new website that's launching is going to have all those tiers shown right there, so everybody can see it, so that they understand. Hey, because the worst question is, hey, how do I get it cheaper? Well, we're just going to show you how to get it cheaper, and
Yeah,
you gotta bring your bigger credit card that day, and you'll get it cheaper.
I like it. Project pricing and case pricing. So where do we go from here? Like, I know you said tonight is some deadline to go up to 104%. I mean, maybe there's some negotiations that happen before then. Maybe they're tomorrow. What are your guys' plans? Are you like just announcing to your clients that this is our new pricing, and you'll find out? Like TJ, you said it won't be till July. Tom,
June 1st at the earliest.
June 1st. I was trying to buy people an extra month.
I know. They appreciate
Jimmy,
We're
it.
about the same thing. We're and sometime middle of May, 1st of June. We'll see what happens by then.
Jimmy, you're instant right now. Is
Yep.
it just wait and see what happens, how you guys get affected, and just constant communication with the client from there?
Yeah, that's pretty much. I've talked with everybody in the Christmas industry, and that's across the board. Everybody's doing a 25 to 30 immediate on inventory. It's an umbrella. It's an umbrella insurance policy at this point, just as a protection. And then I think everybody that I know in the Christmas industry has done that and implemented some sort of immediate. And then I think everybody else, the landscape lighting guys, are pretty well insulated because they're all at full stock. So I know I've talked with a couple of other guys out there, Lumia and Dower. I know have something coming. They just don't know when that's going to be and what that's going to be. But it is going to come unless these things get resolved quickly. And I personally, I hate to say it, but I don't think we're going to see any true motion probably for at least 2 to 3 weeks before we really understand what's going to ultimately happen.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that. People are going to be stubborn for a while and see who blinks first. So I think it's going to be a few weeks.
There is one thing that Congress did something last week where if this is not voted on by Congress and approved within 60 days, they can be completely removed and expunged. So something that I'm about 99% sure did pass last week. And it was a bipartisan thing within Congress. So there might be some relief at 60 days, but I would expect we'll definitely know what ways that's leaning over the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Can't I haven't read up on this, but can't the president veto that unless they have 2/3 majority? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I did see that, and I've read both sides, so I don't know that. I just know that that's been thrown out there. And it is good to see that there is some potential incentive to get things done and done quickly, knowing that is on the table.
Yeah, and Ryan, this is the thing. I mean, everything is so volatile and dynamic. I mean, we're trying to figure it out hour by hour, day by day. It's fun.
Well, I would say this as we kind of wrap it up. I'm really, I mean, I love all of you guys, but I'm concerned for the business owner. I'm concerned for and you guys are too. They're your clients. We want them to win every single day. And there's a lot of people that are worried about a lot of different things. And yes, there's going to be, it reminds me a lot of COVID. Someone brought that up. Like there's going to be some COVID style reactions and stuff like that, where when COVID first happened, there was this giant pause and everyone thought kind of the world was going to end and, oh crap, what am I going to do? And then like, man, if you were in the lighting world, you did very, very well. You didn't even have to know what you were doing and you did well. And part of this is me helping people see that like there is always a way. There's always a path. And you might have to make some zigs and some zags and do some things that you didn't have to do in the past, but there's a way through this. And if you will find that path and use your innovation, like there's a way to win. And if you will upgrade your client avatar to that wealthy person who at the end of the day, yeah, they probably lost 7 figures on Friday in their portfolio, but they have a lot of 7 figures. They might have 8s. You know what I mean? So like they're going to have this pause. There's going to be this thing. When I started my business, it was the mortgage crash. I started at the end of 2007. 2008 was a giant mortgage crash. Same thing happened. Oh crap, I'm dead. What are we going to do? And then what happened? People started spending money. Wealthy people get bored quickly and they realize, oh shit, I'm still rich. I should spend some money because I can. And so I think that's what's going to happen. If you guys will stay persistent and use these tariffs to your advantage to say, hey, listen, I talked to TJ, I talked to Tom, I talked to Jimmy. My pricing for permanent right now is up. It is what it is. But landscape lighting right now, I can offer you that same deal that I gave you last week on that quote, but I just got off the phone with them and the prices could go up literally any minute, any day. If you want to move forward, I'll honor that old price. This could be a time to flourish. Like think about all the deals that people haven't had a yes to yet. Like when I talk to clients, there's people that have literally hundreds of thousands, almost 7 figures worth of deals that they haven't closed yet. This is a great time to close. So anything that you guys want to share as we wrap up, final advice or anything like that to people that may be listening?
I mean,
I think
yeah.
me,
Sorry, you go ahead, Tom.
Lighting, contractor perspective, if you can afford to buy your products early while people still have inventory, while still people have inventory at lower prices, buy early and buy as much as you can because you know it's going to go up.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think my thing is once again to let's just talk Omni for a second. With Omni, our average cost per foot was around $9.20 per linear foot. When you look at a 22% hit on that to the contractor, that's going to take your cost up to $12. Worst case scenario, at $12, that's a $2 increase per foot. You just take your job that's $35 now, charge $37. Yep. There again, it's a premium service, and that's nothing, right? So I think a lot of people, the misinformation of a percentage of tariff is a direct correlation to the percentage of my job price is completely false, and people just need to shake that. So I agree with you, Ryan. They don't need to know that, hey, it's only a $2 increase, but you need to buy these lights, and you're going to buy them today because tomorrow they're going to go up, and you're not going to be able to afford it anymore. So create that sense of urgency to buy it and buy it now. And I think that's what people got to have in their mindset. And they can't be scared of their price. They can't be scared of their process. It is what it is. Take it or leave it. Because next week it could be $50.
Yeah, and if you're in front of those people and having those negotiations over 35, 37 a foot, all that stuff, either your sales process is broken or you're in front of the wrong person. Because there's
100%.
a ton of people that will pay 45 a foot. You know what I mean? Like it's not about the price, it's about the value. So yeah, well said. Tom, anything for us as we wrap up?
No, I think we hit on all of the points. It's just wait and see what happens, and just kind of take it one day at a time.
Cool. Well, listen, I appreciate all of you guys for jumping on here. And I would say this, I mean, you guys have all become friends of mine. And so I think I can speak a little bit on your behalf, but if anyone has questions, you're working on a proposal or anything like that, all these gentlemen are super easy to get a hold of and willing to help and we would act on your behalf. They're like business partners that don't take a percentage of your company. So make sure you reach out to these guys. I appreciate our relationship. I appreciate you guys coming on here. So thanks a ton.
Yeah, likewise, Ryan. Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right.
Stay amazing.
Later, y'all.
Peace.